To kick things off, I played Uncharted 4 at launch on PS4 and was excited to check out Lost Legacy when it was initially revealed. It was one of those cases of it being a game that I never really got around to playing. Skip forward to the present and the Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection has been released, and with the discounted upgrade price for PS5 I figured there's really no better time for me to check it out. First things first, the game does a great introduction of the setting and backdrop to the story that also does a great job of reintroducing Chloe Fraser to those who welcome her back or those who have seen her for the first time. Like in the previous Uncharted games, Chloe is still a thief, but at the outset she takes a moment to talk with a young girl in a bazaar. In that moment you can see her kindness and how she sees a bit of herself in the fatherless child. It's a nice moment and it shows us Chloe's basic humanity, a goodness that will serve her well later on in the story. Now the story follows the pairing of Chloe and one of the antagonists from Uncharted 4, Nadine Ross. Chloe and Nadine start out as strange bedfellows, tied together only because they're seeking the same treasure. They don't trust each other. Chloe is weighed down by the thoughts of her lost father, while Nadine is sore about losing control of her father's company Shoreline. As they find solitude on their journey together, they change. They think about their choices and whether they are on the quest purely for the sake of the money. Over time, they both find something more important than riches in the quest to find the golden tusk of Ganesh. They learn to banter with each other in a way that reminds me of the jesting between Nathan Drake and Sully, and I personally enjoy their relationship more than the main one in Uncharted 4, in the pairing of Nathan and Sam Drake. They counter out each other well, with Chloe having a need to control, even to a point where she won't even let Nadine drive the Jeep because, as she says, it's a control thing. Yet along the way, they face off against an army of insurgent soldiers. They have to trust each other with their lives. By the time the stakes get really high, each character has to evaluate where they stand, make a choice and change who they are. A quest for the golden tusk of Ganesh takes Chloe and Nadine to some of the prettiest scenery of the Uncharted series. The pair find beautiful hidden temples and fortresses in the Green Mountains of India's Western Ghats, where they uncover ruins of the Hoysala Empire. One chapter that I particularly enjoyed was Chapter 4. This chapter allows you to roam with your Jeep through a huge open environment filled with rivers and mountains. You can drive your 4x4 around in the mud and up rocks, but you can also speed through the rivers and escape the soldiers chasing you. As you can explore the ruins of temples and fortresses in any order, the draw distances are huge and you can see the distant waterfalls, colourful fauna, blue skies and amazingly realistic water. What I liked about this level is that you could really make use of the Jeep, even if it meant driving off a cliff and going into completely free fall. This felt like a much bigger expansion of Uncharted 4's Madagascar sequence, which saw you do the same thing, but this does it on a much bigger scale. This also felt like a bit of a test drive, no pun intended, for the Seattle section of The Last of Us 2, which features many of the same mechanics of this open area. And as the usual Uncharted game, this game has some action-packed set pieces, exotic destinations and intricate puzzles, and if I don't say so myself, I think they're some of the best in the series. I enjoyed a puzzle that was kind of like a chessboard. You had to walk onto steps and watch out for big axes that the statues swung at you, which required a bit of planning, and another would include matching objects to their shadows. There are also some nice touches here and there, like a new lockpicking mechanic that you'll use dozens of times in the game, whether to gain treasure items or stock up on some ammo for the next big firefight. One of the standouts as well of Lost Legacy is the main villain Asav, an Indian insurgency leader who is seeking treasure to finance his rebellion. Asav is a smooth talker who wears spectacles even though he doesn't need them to see. He isn't insane in the usual madman sort of way, but he's got his issues. Asav is more like the villain who won't quit and who tries to outsmart the hero every turn. He lets them solve the problem, then waltzes in and takes the prize. Now, it is a relatively short game, taking around 8 hours or so to finish, and this might be the best thing about it. Reserve is not one of Uncharted's virtues, and the games have really left you wanting more. They often succumb to large amounts of padding, and despite the grandeur of their set pieces, they really mix up their carefully measured lengths of climbing, gunplay, puzzle solving, and that can get repetitive. At less than half the usual running time though, each gameplay component has enough room to breathe, but not enough to get tiresome or for its lack of depth to be too harshly exposed. The plot has just enough time to develop the characters without labouring to the point, deliver one twist and one crescendo, and to wrap it with a crisp kiss-off. It's a pleasantly brisk. You find yourself wishing future episodes could clock out with such economy. Now, I played this on the PS5 version, which runs smooth as butter in the performance mode, which targets 60 FPS, and there's no issues with hitting that target. 4K mode, which runs at 30 FPS, looks stunning on a 4K display, although this isn't really a surprise considering Naughty Dog's track record with stunning visuals. The game also takes advantage of the DualSense haptic feedback, which, to me, can improve any game it is featured on, with the triggers providing resistance to both the driving of the Jeep and firing the multitude of weapons available, as well as the series' signature climbing and set pieces. So overall, I think if you enjoy the Uncharted series like myself, or one similar like it, and have the chance to take advantage of the discounted upgrade on PS5 priced at £10 or $10, then it's a no-brainer as Lost Legacy alone is worth the price for admission. I am glad I finally had the chance to take on this new solo outing in the Uncharted series, and to experience it whilst taking advantage of the newest PlayStation hardware, and I can't recommend this experience enough.